Hey guys, sebchoof here. There is so much hype for Realm right now. Since Exalt has arrived, I noticed there's a massive spike in players, both old, returning ones, and new, and I want to help all of you. I'm going to start releasing guide videos quite often like this one, but basically, this is a really brutal game and everyone feels the pain of it sooner or later. Unless you're too much of a pussy and choose to play this game with cheats, you're probably interested about how you can improve at this game so it doesn't make you cry as often and as severely. Let me run through 5 tips that will make you a more elite gamer dude, or elite gamer girl for the one chick that's watching. Number 1. Learn from each death. People think when you die it's just a horrible time where it sets you back in progress, but dying is amazing, no cap. Each time you die, if you add this knowledge of this painful death to your brain, your experience and skill expands. For example, if you had to bet on either of these players behaving like a chimp in C-Depths or doing well, who would win the chimp prize? In the ring, we have in the first corner a player who has lost 3 decent characters in C-Depths, and then in the other corner we have a player who hasn't died at all. The player who hasn't died at all most likely hasn't because he's someone who hides behind other players and never tries anything that might speed up the completion of the dungeon, and to be honest, it's not that hard to be a coward and never die. However, the player who has died multiple times probably did so because he tried rushing and made a mistake, or overextended too far, and each time he died he came back as a stronger player, if he learns from his death of course. It's just important that your deaths don't go to waste and you learn from each one. But Seb, you don't understand how much I lose on each death. Why would I risk my character rushing? It takes me so many tens of hours to grind these items that I lose. Well, number 2 is don't be a chimpanzee that overly piles on value on each character. One of the reasons that adds to the tiers from death is the value of the characters you lose. And more often than not, I see people piling unnecessary stuff on characters which hurts the player, a lot more than it should have. There are 2 examples of this. All types of players do this, but mostly the endgame ones. Players bringing way too many items that are unnecessary, mostly to show off. How am I supposed to feel bad for you when you hold 3 different swords and you can only equip one? Do you have a third arm or something? But to be honest, I used to do this as well until I realized how much of a baboon I was being, and it wasn't worth it. Also, you'd be less willing to try new things if you're playing on an overstacked character, so it limits the amount you improve at the game. And when you do carry a lot of gear, it prevents you from picking up more pots and items. What I do is I have a specific task and equip myself accordingly. I don't have 5 hands, so I can't wield 5 swords. Just to give you an example, I usually carry just 1 sword, maybe 2. My recommendation is to wear the tankiest gear possible at all times, and only when you're really confident in what you're doing. You can also bring a speedy set and a DPS set to speed up the rushing and killing bosses and enemies. Like for example, as a warrior, the tanky set could be bringing a tier 6 helm and a marble breastplate or an A-crop and a health ring. And the DPS set could be something like a Dragon ST armor and a ring because it gives you 21 speed, so you can swap into that while you're rushing. Then when you get to the boss, you can swap to a Mercy's Bane and a crown or a potato for DPS, and maybe even a B helm or an ST helm, the Draconis helmet that is. The second example of people overstacking characters is mostly done by beginner to mid-level players, and they pile all of the tradable items like potions on one character, so when it dies, majority of their wealth goes away. And this has the same problem as before, where you play more chicken-like, so you stay as a noob for longer. You can't pick up items, and your deaths feel super socky. My recommendation is don't put more than 33% of tradable wealth on one character, and store at least 1 or 2 backup sets in case you die, because you want to plan ahead for your future characters. You basically want to expect to die, because you will, on every single character. Unless you don't play on it, or you play like a coward. In that case, what's the point of playing? For example, for the same 3 stat potions, use 1 on the character you're farming on, and store the other 2. With the remaining potions, you can either stockpile them and build the value into less items so you can stock up wealth. Like for example, if you get 8 defense, you can trade it into 1 life. Then you can trade 8 life into 1 UBHP, and then store it away. You can even put it on another character if you like, or on another account, if you don't have the vault space. And another thing you should be doing with the leftover pots is trade them for items that you can feed to your pet. Because investing in your pet is a great idea. No matter how many times you die, your pet will always be with you. I have another guide video that shows how you can most quickly get a Divine pet without using gold. Now the third tip is Learn or predict potential deaths to prevent them in the future. This point is very similar to the first, where you learn how to prevent future deaths, except even better because you don't have to die to do this. Instead, you can foresee it by using similar experiences or learn from others. There's common patterns in this game that reoccur, like for example, the more you play this game, the more you come to realize that standing on enemies and giving them a special dance is not a good idea if you want to live. Also, since shotguns come from the enemy's center, the further away you are, the less shots you absorb. See, I understand year 3 maths. But let me give you an example. Like if you had an absolute chimpish death where you were running a UDL and you had those vampire guys chasing you, like the ones that do really high damage and they chase just behind you and always shoot at your current location, and then you stopped to type for 1 moment and you die in 1 second, you probably won't do the same when you're rushing an abyss and you have the brutes chasing you. Also, if you've been shotgunned before, and everyone has, you should probably avoid being close to the origin of the shots where they come out of if you feel like it could be a lethal range. The second way you can learn potential deaths is from others. You can ask other more experienced players what are the potential cheese deaths you can run into against a specific boss or in a specific dungeon, or you can check out videos or guides. And super similarly, for the next point, by watching streams like mine at twitch.tv/sebchoof_RotMG, you can see the things the player does to do well and incorporate it into your own playstyle. So as a realm player, you have a choice. You could be a pussy and avoid any pain in this game, as if you were playing Club Penguin again, by using cheats. Or you could eventually become a beast by taking the mistakes and learning from yourself and others. And the people that you hang out with determines how you develop. If you play with cheaters as a legit player, you will never learn since there will always be hot garbage worse than you, and they will never have anything that you can learn from. There's also some more casual type players that play this game mostly for the grind and for loot, so you can't really learn from them too much either, but they're one step above the cheaters. If you want to get a lot better, you should look for the players that are dedicated at improving and are interested in challenging themselves in the game. If you join my Discord in the description, you can find like-minded people who are keen to become absolute gamers. Also, look for the guilds that are adamant against hackers. So when you go on RealmI, there's like a box. It should say no hackers. Those ones are the best. You want to look for those to have a more enjoyable experience while playing Realm. And lastly, 5, subscribe to my YouTube and follow my streams on Twitch. I know this sounds like a disgusting self-promotion, but for a long time, 99% of my videos have been stream highlights, and now people think I'm a lazy fuck who just lazily cuts streams and re-uploads them. I still am. However, I'm going to start releasing many guides, including extremely detailed rush, boss, and class guides, so make sure to subscribe to my YouTube. Also, if you catch me on my stream at twitch.tv/sebchoof_ROTMG, you see me regularly challenging myself and always responding to questions in the chat, so if you want to learn, you can always ask me. It's impossible to stay a bad player if you're subscribed to me long enough, unless you're a hacker. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.